Everyone's talking about peptides. Everyone's taking peptides. There's a big craze around peptides right now. And I'm a massive advocate for them, but what I keep coming across is that many people do not have the proper foundation built and they don't have a clear strategy on what they're taking and how to actually implement it. And when that happens, all you end up doing is injecting very expensive water. So my goal here is to basically walk you guys through a complete system to one, make sure you have the foundation built. Two, make sure you actually have the data so you're not fucking playing the guessing game and you have a clear game plan on what needs to get done, what peptides are, which ones do what, how to incorporate them, and how to build out your own protocol. And then some of the foundation nutritional components that you guys need to focus on to make sure you're making the most of your time and your money. Again, peptides, you can go down a rabbit hole very quickly on them. There's a peptide for essentially everything, and everything will serve a benefit. But if you want to make the most of the money you're spending and not go down that rabbit hole and see the actual amazing results and life-changing experiences that people are experiencing with peptides, you need to follow a clear system and have a proper strategy in place. So that's what I'm going to walk you through you guys today. All right. Now, again, you guys have seen some of the incredible transformations I've posted. My guys are 40, 50, 60 plus with improved health markers, looking better and operating better than they did at their 30s, and completely transforming their life through this system. So I'm going to walk you guys through it, show you exactly how it works so you can implement it for yourself. And again, make the most of your money, yield some progress, and bring the vision to life. All right. So first things first, who am I and why am I even talking about this in the first place? My name is Carter Montgomery. I'm a retired professional bodybuilder. I've been in the health and fitness space for over 15 years. I'm a metabolic health and performance specialist. And I've spent a little over the past decade immersed in the peptide and health optimization space. A lot of people think peptides are new. They are new to the general public, but they have been around for a very long time. Insulin is a peptide, and we've had that for close to 50 years now. So again, we've had peptides, we've had access to them. I've been using them for about 15 years, and I've been incorporating them with my clients through that same time frame as well. So I have a very clear understanding on how these work, how to implement them, and how to make the most of what you are taking. So let's walk through that today. So again, what you guys are going to be learning today is one, how to optimize your internal system. So your hormones, your recovery, your energy. As age increases, there's a lot of things that just happen with the body, and it is biology, and it's ultimately kind of predictable. And if we have the data behind it, we can actually fix and optimize a lot of those processes through peptides. We're also going to understand how to use data and feedback to eliminate guessing. This is what I was talking about in the beginning. So many people are just taking shit without having a clear foundation in place and without having the actual data you need to have a clear strategy for you. We're going to run over how peptides are the key to health and longevity. We're going to go in deep on this one. So what peptides are. So from the very beginning, what peptides do what, how to incorporate them, and how to actually build out your own protocol effectively. And then lastly, we're going to cover that nutrition component. Okay, this is one of the big pieces we have to have a foundation set for, whether you're trying to have better energy, have better recovery, improve some of your cellular processes, yield body composition changes. If we don't have the nutrition component dialed in, you will be stuck on the hamster wheel. All right. So let's start at the foundation here, which is going to be what happens as age increases. Okay. As age increases, there's a clear effect that happens, the core impact on kind of what it does to your life. And then there's a primary fix. Again, I keep going back to this, is there is no guessing game when you have the data. When you have the data, there's a very clear path to actually fixing that if you have the information. So first thing that happens as age increases, as your testosterone and your anabolic hormones decline. This is why women enter menopause. Your body stops producing those hormones. This is why men in their 40s will deal with low T's, because your body is not producing these hormones as efficiently anymore. Okay, so there's a downregulation that happens across the board with men and women and females. And again, it happens in ultimately kind of a linear fashion. You can watch this over the years. If you start testing your labs at, say, 32, and you just follow that year after year, you can see this steady decline in a lot of those hormone markers. So what that's going to do is you're going to have a lower drive, especially for the men. If you have low testosterone, your drive is going to be shit. Your energy is going to be shit. You're not really going to have that motivation and that drive you had when you were younger. Muscle loss is going to happen, and you're also not going to be in the environment to actually grow more muscle tissue if that's what you want to do. Libido is going to drop as well. Those are some of like the core impacts that happen. Now, there's a very easy primary fix for this. We optimize your hormones. And there's two routes we can go with this. One, hormone replacement therapy. So that's TRT for women, HRT, progesterone, some estrogen hormones, even testosterone as well. A couple different approaches there. But there is also a peptide route we can go as well. Now, this all determines on how bad your situation really is. If you are someone who's dealing like a male and you're dealing with a sub 250, sub 300 serum testosterone level, you need to go straight to TRT. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to sit here and say that this magic pill or this peptide is going to fix that, because it won't. You need to go on replacement therapy. Your biology happened. You're that down far the road. Implement HRT, and the cool thing with that, within like 3 to 4 weeks, you'll feel like a completely different person, and that number will be optimized very quickly. Now, again, if you're someone who your situation isn't as bad, okay, and we're still seeing some good production happening, we're just seeing a downregulation on that serum testosterone side of things, there are some peptides that we can implement that I will run through with you to actually improve those hormones as well, so you actually don't have to go on HRT. But again, individual dependent, we'll walk through that as well. As age increases as well, increase in inflammation and oxidative stress. This is what we always hear as people get older, right? Hey, I'm always inflamed. My body's always stressed out. My body's not responding how it used to. This is where the fatigue sets in, the pain sets in, recovery starts to slow down. It's a very simple fix as well. Proper nutrition intake for you. This doesn't mean a crash diet, any of those. Say, what is the proper intake for me to fuel my body and make sure these processes are moving in the right direction? Peptide protocols. Okay, so there's a lot of peptides we can implement to reduce that oxidative stress, reduce inflammation, give the body everything it needs to recover as efficiently as possible. And then gut repair. Gut repair is not going to be the solution for everyone. But if you are someone who's dealing with chronic inflammation, tons of oxidative stress, like the body is just really fatigued, a lot of that does happen in the gut. So if we repair that gut health and we get that dialed in, everything downstream from that is going to improve as well. You're going to see a decline in mitochondrial and metabolic function. This is why people say, hey, at 45, I can't lose fat the same way I did in my 30s, right? Why is that happening? Because we're having a decline in your metabolic function. This is biology. This is completely normal. But now we have the ability to actually optimize this. So as age increases and typically the body would decline and deteriorate, well, we can actually get ahead of a lot of those processes and improve them. It's going to be slower metabolism, immune suppression. Slower metabolism means you're not going to grow muscle tissue as quickly. You're not going to lose body fat as quickly. You are going to have a big drop in energy, big increase in fatigue. So a few primary fixes for that. Sleep's going to be the key component here, okay? When it comes to overall health, not just yielding body composition changes, sleep is the foundation of everything. If we're talking about neurological decline as well, it's a very clear path to show people who get dementia, Alzheimer's, any of these like neurological issues, it actually goes hand in hand with a massive lack of sleep. So the more sleep you have, brain's going to be better, recovery is going to be better, body composition is going to improve, everything will improve from there. So that is the foundation here. If you're not getting a minimum of 7 hours of sleep each night, you need to do everything you can to improve that. Again, I got some peptides that'll improve sleep as well. We'll talk about that. Proper cardio protocol as well. Okay, this doesn't mean just doing HIIT classes. This doesn't mean just going for walks. This means what can I do and what makes the most sense for me that I can implement from a cardio standpoint to train my metabolic system, to train the cardiovascular system and keep that stuff dialed in. Lastly, which kind of goes in with hand with the increased inflammation, which is going to be a decreased recovery capacity in your protein synthesis. So poor muscle retention, performance is going to decline, won't recover as quickly, sore joints, again, fatigue after your training sessions, body just is not recovering as efficiently as it needs to. Hormone support is going to be number one. Testosterone is essentially the recovery hormone of the body. If we don't have optimal testosterone levels, it doesn't matter what else we throw in the mix, you will be stuck on that hamster wheel. We have to optimize the hormones. We have to make sure that piece is dialed in, because if it's not, you're stuck, okay? Nutrient timing is going to be important, okay? Especially when it comes to anyone who is doing any kind of weight training, physical activity, any kind of exercise like that. Nutrient timing can play a really big piece in this, as well as sleep. And then any GHRP peptides. So that's growth hormone releasing peptide. Any of those are going to be a big benefit because it's going to increase your body's growth hormone levels, which means better skin, better hair, better nails, sleep, overall recovery. Cell turnover happens much quicker, so the body can repair a lot faster. All right? So before we start anything, you guys have to have the data. You have to have the data. If you do not have the data, you will be playing the guessing game. So you guys need to be checking these a minimum of every 6 months. For all my guys that work with me, we do this every quarter. Okay, if you check your blood work minimum of twice a year, you can get ahead of like 90 to 95% of the problems that most people run into. And the cool thing is you can catch it before it's actually a problem. If you're consistently monitoring the data, you can see these markers trend in a certain direction and get ahead of the problem before it's too late. That's the goal here. Now, the second piece of this is You need to be getting all of these panels done. If you are one of those people who's just getting your blood work done once a year because you're going to get an annual physical, they are running two labs here, typically a CMP and your complete blood count. They do not run anything else, which means you need to be an advocate for yourself and request the rest of these panels. We have to look at the full picture. We have to look at health markers. We have to look at the hormone profile. We have to look at everything to see what's going on. And if there is a downregulation or disruption on anything, well, then now we can kind of pinpoint things and understand why that's actually happening. So again, if you're going to get your annual physical, you're going to a primary care, make sure you're requesting all of these panels right here. And if you can't get them through your primary, or whatever reason, there should be no issue if you request it, but you can always order these on your own. Shoot me a message. My information will be in the bio below. We can get you set up on actually ordering your labs for yourself, getting them tests and seeing where those numbers are at. Okay, but you need to be an advocate for yourself. You need to take control of this shit. Okay, remember, when it comes to our healthcare system, they continue to fail us. You become a number and they just push you through the system. So again, if you're not being an advocate for yourself, if you're not on top of this, there's not always someone looking out for you. Now, if you do have a doctor who orders all these panels and they're hands-on, stay with that doctor. They are amazing. Hang out with them. They are good. We want to keep them in your circle because that's a key component. So let's run through what they are. First one's going to be a CMP, a complete metabolic panel. This is the standard blood work panel that they will run anytime you go to the doctors. This is going to show essentially all organ function. So liver function, kidney function, your electrolyte balance, your glucose, essentially how efficiently all your organs are working. Okay? Complete blood count, CBC, is going to be your hematology. Okay, so this is everything regarding your blood. This is going to give us any early indicators of immune suppression, overtraining stress, or just stress in general, inflammation, chronic fatigue patterns, your overall systemic resilience. All of that is going to be determined by the blood work, or by your, not by your blood work, by your hematology, by your blood. So we want to make sure we're looking through those as well. Full hormone panel, not just testosterone. I know a lot of people are using Rhythm and some of those like at-home tests. They are good. They do allow you to look at some markers. They don't have everything for you. If you're just looking at your serum testosterone level, that doesn't tell us shit. Because if your serum testosterone level is low, well, we need to look at the rest of the hormone panel to see why is that actually happening? What else is going on? Testosterone is just one piece of the puzzle. We need to look at everything. So your full hormone panel, guys, total and free testosterone, estradiol, DHEA, SHBG, cortisol, PSA, and prolactin. Okay, you've got to run all of these. It's basically going to show all of your anabolic versus catabolic balance, adrenals, stress systems, and how well your body is producing and converting testosterone. Thyroid panel. Many times we'll just run TSH. TSH does not show us anything. All it shows us is how hard the pituitary gland has to work to produce thyroid-stimulating hormone. So that shows us pituitary gland function, not what's actually going on the thyroid side of things. So we need TSH, we need free T3, and we need free T4. You have to have those three values. It's going to basically show how efficiently your metabolism is working. Remember, thyroid controls metabolism. So if we want to optimize metabolism, we have to look at the thyroid. You need a lipid panel, so that's going to be all of your cholesterol values. HbA1c, which is going to be our most accurate read on insulin resistance, and then ApoB, which is going to be your most accurate value behind cardiovascular health. This is going to show us, again, cardiovascular health, fat metabolism, and blood sugar control. Very, very crucial. We want, if we're looking at overall metabolic insufficiency, these are going to be kind of the key markers that are going to go hand in hand with that. So we want to make sure we're monitoring those and have those in a good spot. Lastly, we want to look at vitamin D. We want to look at vitamin B12, ferritin, which is like your iron absorption, and then magnesium. Okay, so energy systems and recovery capacity are all going to be measured through there. So screenshot this guy right here, save it as a favorite in your phone, and make sure at least twice a year when you go get your blood work done, you are getting all of these panels ran. Okay. Now let's roll into wearables and biofeedback. Okay, when it comes to these wearables, people kind of live by them and they like make it like the holy grail. There is going to be some inaccuracies with them, but I will preface this: if we are using the same device consistently, it will always show us trends, and trends are what we're looking for. So you got your Oura Ring, you got your Whoop Band, you got your Garmin. Those are my top three. Some of the newer Fitbits are okay. Apple Watch isn't really sufficient when it comes to tracking a bunch of these metrics. It's good for steps and things like that. Some things, but again, Oura Ring, Whoop Band, Garmin are kind of the three I recommend. So the first thing we want to monitor is going to be your HRV. All right, so that's going to measure the variation between your heartbeats, so reflects how well your body is adapting to stress. This is our basically key indication of recovery, which means when we see that HRV drop, we know our recovery has dropped as well, so you can take certain measures to dial in recovery. Sleep metrics are crucial. We just talked about sleep metrics above. It's going to measure your total sleep, sleep consistency, sleep stages, latency, efficiency. We need all of those. So it's going to be a direct insight to your recovery capacity and if your CNS, your central nervous system, is restorative or overstimulated. Okay? Sleep, 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 my friends. If there's one key component you can take out of this, optimize your sleep. Respiratory rate, a lot of people look over this one. I'm a big advocate of actually looking at that, which is going to be the average number of breaths per minute while you're asleep. This is going to go hand in hand with your resting heart rate as well, which is the number of beats per minute while you're at rest. Both of these are basically going to be real-time indicators of fatigue, immune stress, overall recovery capacity. These are going to go hand in hand with all that, so we want to monitor those. VO2 max, this is going to basically be your cardiovascular capacity. We always want this number improving. We should not see this number dropping. Your goal should always be to improve your VO2 max. So we want to make sure we're doing the necessary things to improve that number. Expenditure, this is total calories you burn per day. You need to understand how many calories you're consuming and how many calories you're expending. If you do not have that piece, you are playing the guessing game. And like I said above, nutrition is the foundation of all of this. I don't care if it's for body composition. I don't care if it's for energy, recovery, hormone optimization. If your nutrition is not sufficient and dialed in, nothing else is going to work downstream. This is the foundation. Sleep, nutrition. You have to get those pieces dialed in before you start throwing all these compounds in the mix. All right? So again, highly recommend you get one of these three. My wife uses the Oura Ring. I prefer the Whoop Band, but you need to have something to track these wearables. This is very crucial because this allows us to, one, look at these biofeedback markers, but two, keep our eyes on these things before or in between our lab tests, right? Like if we're getting our lab tests done every quarter or twice a year, well, now we can actually monitor the biofeedback in between those times as well and make sure these markers are moving in the right direction. All right? Let's spend a little section here on nutrition. Big piece here, okay? Macro ratios are going to vary by individual and by their goal. But to kind of put a blanket over it and to make it very simple for everyone, this is the breakdown you should be following. So 40% of your calories go to protein, 35 to 40% go to carbs, 20 to 25% go to fats. This is a well-balanced approach, works for a majority of people. And again, it's going to allow you to eat the foods you want, have a very well-diverse, balanced diet, but still keep things dialed in. So the body has what it needs, but you can also yield great body composition through this as well. Now, if you're asking, how do I calculate my total calories? How many calories should I consume each day? Very simple formula. Take your body weight or your goal body weight, multiply it by 10, and then divide that into these numbers right here. So if you're 180 pounds and you just want to recomp, or maybe you want to lose a little bit of weight, and your goal weight's 170, we just take 170 times 10, that's 1,700 calories you need to consume. If you're 200 pounds and you want to be 210, well, then we take 210, multiply that by 10, that's 2,100 calories, and then we go 40% of that to protein, 35 to 40% to carbs, 20 to 25% to fat. Very simple formula. That's exactly where you should be. And again, if you dial that component in, everything downstream is going to be an improvement. Now, you understand how many calories you should be consuming. You also understand the macro split and the breakdown on what those calories should be made up of, okay? Here it goes into nutrient timing, okay? This piece can be very beneficial for people when you're trying to make sure you can perform as efficiently as possible, recovery is dialed in, you don't want fatigue to set in, and again, we want to be able to operate and perform at our best. So pre-workout, you need to be having some fast digesting carbs and a lean protein. We want stuff that's going to be fast absorbing right into the system, ready to go for that training session, okay? So any lean protein option, this could be chicken breast, this could be white fish, this could be lean ground turkey, this could be egg whites, this could be a protein shake. You got tons of options. Look up lean proteins, run any of those. Fast digesting carbs, okay? We want those simple carbohydrates, fast digesting, get them into the system as quickly as possible. Because again, those are going to keep the glycogen stores nice and full. So when you go into that training session, your body has all the fuel, energy it actually needs. Post-workout, same exact formula. We want to have fast digesting carbs and a lean protein post-workout. This is going to replenish those glycogen stores, keep recovery top of mind, and make sure, again, the body can repair as efficiently as it can from that training session. Now, in terms of timing, 40 minutes to an hour before your workout, have the pre-workout. And then 40 minutes to an hour after your workout, have your post-workout meal. Very simple. Don't overthink that piece. Throughout the rest of the day is where we can get more flexible with things. You can go into your slower digesting carbs, so more of your complex carbohydrates. your sweet potatoes, things like that. Protein with every meal, and then essential fats. Now, this is where we can go into some of our fatty protein options, right? Because we know, like a steak, for example, is going to have more dietary fats than a chicken breast will, which means those essential fats are going to be inside of my protein source, okay? So again, all your meals throughout the rest of the day, outside of pre-workout and post-workout, you can have a fattier protein option as long as it fits within your goals. And you want to have those slower digesting carbs. You can stick to fast digesting carbs, but again, this is your chance to incorporate some other food sources and again, have more of a well-balanced approach. Simple, effective, strategic. Implement it, follow the guideline, you will make progress. Lastly, we do need to cover micronutrients. A lot of people overlook this piece. Sodium, potassium, magnesium, kind of the three essentials that we need to make sure dialed in. It's going to control muscle contraction, hydration, overall energy transfer. Your muscles need your micronutrients to contract, so make sure we have enough in the system. This is going to play a big impact into recovery, performance, mental clarity, like brain fog, inflammation. This is a key component, so you guys got to make sure you have this dialed in. One thing I recommend people to keep it super easy is those little like electrolyte packets, the liquid IV ones, Element. I'm not a big fan of Element because they're super expensive, but I like liquid IV, best bang for your buck. But again, if you wake up in the morning, have 32 ounces of water with one of those packets, you have essentially most of the micronutrients you need for the day. So simple, easy, and effective. All right, guys, this game doesn't have to be complicated, but if you follow the system and you implement these pieces, you will get everything moving in the right direction. All right, let's dive into peptides. I'm sure this is the piece that most of you are actually waiting for. So let's break it down from the beginning, kind of work our way through. So peptides are short chains of amino acids, the same building blocks that make up protein. The difference between a peptide and a protein amino acid is the size. Protein chains are a lot longer, they're very complex. Peptides are a shorter chain, okay, and they're still amino acids linked together. So the small size is what makes them very biologically powerful because they're small enough to bind to specific receptors, cross certain barriers, and then trigger precise cellular responses without a broad systemic effect of larger compounds. So the cool thing with this is, again, we can take a peptide, which is just a chain of amino acids, and it's going to improve a signal within the body. Remember, every process we have in the body is ran off of a signal. As we age, those signals slow down. Those signals slowing down is why things downregulate. Hormones, vitamin deficiencies, energy levels, all of that happens from that signal slowing down. So if we can improve that signal, make that signal hit faster and harder, well, then that process improves as well. Now, your body already produces hundreds of peptides naturally. Insulin's a peptide, oxytocin's a peptide, ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone, is also a peptide. We have all of these peptides within our body. Now, they are your body's internal messaging system, and it basically tells the cells, the glands, the organs, all these processes to do what it needs to do and when to actually do it. So people are starting to realize that optimization doesn't just mean blasting hormones. Peptides offer a more surgical approach to fix the signal, support the system, and let the body do what it's designed to do. This is key. This is why there's such a big trend right now and a big splash in the world right now, is because usually we kind of just had to accept decline as we age. Yes, you could replenish hormones through HRT, things like that. But again, a lot of these other processes, we were never able to actually improve. It was just kind of age-related decline that you sort of just accepted. Now, we have the ability to have full control of this and improve these processes that, again, before we weren't able to improve. So again, when it comes to health, longevity, performance, peptides are completely changing the game. So let's run into some of the peptides. I broke everything into categories for you guys, and I covered not all of the peptides. I covered the ones that are effective and what I believe you should actually be spending your money on. Again, there's a lot of peptides. There's new ones that come out all the time. There are tons of great peptides, but I wanted to keep this condensed for you so you understood, like, hey, this is in bite-sized portions. I know what's going on. I know it's effective, and I know what this is going to yield result-wise. So when it comes to fat loss and body composition, first one's going to be an AOD 9604. Big fan of this one. This is going to increase fat metabolism without affecting blood sugar or appetite. So it's basically going to help the body get rid of fat as much more efficiently. Tesamorelin is going to stimulate growth hormone release to reduce visceral fat. Now, this was originally made for HIV patients who had lipodystrophy, which is like accumulation of visceral fat. That's why this was originally made, and in those studies, they saw a massive reduction in the visceral fat. So that's why, again, this is still a growth hormone peptide. It's telling the body to stimulate its own growth hormone release, But again, the design of it did have some effects on visceral fat. Ipamorelin, everybody says a little bit different. This is going to elevate GH and IGF-1 for improved metabolism and muscle retention. So similar to tesamorelin, it's tell the body to release more growth hormone. And anytime we release more growth hormone, our body will be able to maintain a leaner physique, better skin, hair, nails, sleep, muscle retention, recovery. Everything improves from more growth hormone within the body. Last are going to be your GLPs. Semaglutide was a GLP-1, tirzepatide was a GLP-2, retatrutide, which is a GLP-3. What they are is semaglutide plays on the GLP-1 receptor. That's going to basically slow down gastric emptying. You won't get as hungry, so you won't eat as much. Tirzepatide plays on the GLP-1 receptor, so you won't eat as much, but it also plays on the GIP receptor, which is going to control blood sugar. Retatrutide, which is the king of them all, is going to play on 3 receptors. The GLP-1, so you're not going to eat as much. The GIP, so blood sugar is controlled. And the glucagon receptor, which is going to drive up metabolic rate. This is why retatrutide is such a big thing right now, and it's remarkable what it's doing, is because not only is it getting people to eat less and controlling their blood sugar, it's driving up their metabolic rate, so they're burning more energy as well. So again, when it comes to a body composition, fat loss standpoint, retatrutide is a game changer. Now, when it comes to these 3 compounds, I like to compare these to like the iPhones. Semaglutide's like your iPhone 5. Tirzepatide's your iPhone 10. Retatrutide's that new iPhone 17 Pro Max. They all essentially can get the job done, but that iPhone 17 Pro is going to do a lot more, have a lot more features. And again, it's that newer technology. We always want the newer technology because that means it's been improved. Just like a cell phone, every time they make a new one, they improve it. They make something better, the screen bigger, the processing faster, something improves. Same concept with the GLPs. Okay, so retatrutide again is your most efficient or newest technology one. Muscle growth and recovery. I first want to preface this. Peptides are never going to replace anabolics. If you're someone who's like, I want to pack on 20 pounds of muscle and get jacked and all this stuff, peptides are not going to do that. Okay, they're very good at improving processes within the body, but they're not going to replace anabolics. They are not muscle building peptides. They're all essentially growth hormone related, which is going to tell the body to produce more growth hormone in different pulses. And in return, just like I said previously, more growth hormone means better recovery, better muscle retention, better skin, hair, nails, sleep, everything kind of downstream improves from that. So more growth hormone is always a big benefit from it. CJC 1295, typically you'll see this stacked with ipamorelin. That's one blend I do recommend. This is going to synergistically increase growth hormone and IGF-1. So improve recovery, muscle tone, fat oxidation, everything I talked about. Growth hormone across the board is going to do the same things. It's just each one of these peptides do it a little differently. Ipamorelin is a GHRP, so a growth hormone releasing peptide. What makes this one special is most of the GHRP peptides, especially like the GHRP6s and stuff like that, spike cortisol and prolactin alongside growth hormones. So there was kind of like a negative effect from the release of growth hormone. That's why most of those you don't even hear of anymore and people don't even take them. Ipamorelin, on the other hand, is going to hit that growth hormone selectively, and then it leaves everything else alone. So we're able to elevate those growth hormone levels without having that spike in prolactin and cortisol. IGF-1 is a direct anabolic signaling for muscle tissue growth and overall cell growth. When it comes to growing muscle tissue or just growth in general, IGF-1 is the main driver behind that. Oftentimes, when we take growth hormone, we're trying to improve that IGF-1 level as well because, again, we want to grow more muscle tissue. We want all that fast cell turnover, that fast cell growth. IGF-1 is going to make that happen. Last one's going to be MK677. This is not technically a peptide. Some people call it a peptide. I kind of put it in that category. But this is going to elevate growth hormone levels, but it's going to act on the hunger hormone ghrelin to stimulate appetite. So you will get very freaking hungry when you eat this one. So if you're someone who's a hard gainer, have a very hard time getting in a sufficient amount of food for you, if you take MK677, it will make you very hungry and you will have no issue getting in the food. Now, with that, you need to remember that if you're someone who's trying to go into a fat loss phase or anything like that, do not take MK677 because you're going to drive yourself crazy because you're going to be beyond hungry, okay? Cognitive enhancement peptides, we got CMAX. CMAX, I like to call this your natural Adderall, all right? It's going to be very good for focus, motivation, mental clarity. Again, it's kind of like a natural Adderall. You'll feel very focused, things like that, but it's not a stimulant, so you're not going to get that like cracky, overstimulated feeling. It's going to be clear, mental clarity, focus, motivation, everything will be in a really good spot. C-Link, which we often stack with C-Max, is going to be a kind of like anxiety reducing one. It's going to kind of help level out your mood, reduce anxiety, enhance clarity through that as well. So it does go hand in hand with the C-Max. Dihexa, game changer when it comes to cognitive support. If you know anyone who's dealing with any kind of cognitive decline, I highly recommend you put them on Dihexa. It's going to support synaptic growth and long-term brain performance. So your BDNF, your brain-derived neurofactor, basically what helps the brain create new synapses, new blood flow, new connections. It's going to improve that drastically, very, very drastically. This is used in Europe. This is used in Russia. It's just obviously not used here as FDA approved, but we now have access to it. This stuff is a complete game changer. Massive, massive advocate for Dihexa. And again, this is going to be our most beneficial when it comes to cognitive repair. All right. Last is going to be NAD+. This could fall into a couple different categories, but this is one of the most important molecules in the human body. I want you to think of this like your cellular currency. This helps every single cell in your body produce energy and repair themselves. So sufficient amount of NAD levels means better energy, better cellular function. Everything improves from that. So again, this is going to go hand in hand with overall energy production, cognitive clarity, mental focus, things like that. Everything will continue to improve just from optimal NAD levels. All right. Sleep and recovery. D-SIP is actually considered a neuropeptide, but this is a specific sleep peptide. This is like, I love, love, love this stuff. It's called delta state induced peptide, and it's going to improve your sleep depth. So it's going to push you into REM and deep sleep much faster, but also keep you in REM and deep sleep much longer. Remember, that's like your real recovery sleep. We want that to be as long as possible. This is going to push you into that deep sleep, REM sleep much faster, and again, keep you there longer. It's also going to reset your sleep cycle. So nurses, cops, people who do shift work, very beneficial for you because again, you're going from different sleep cycles. Taking the D-SIP is going to reset that sleep cycle. Like to run this for a very simple 20-day cycle, nightly for 20 days. That'll reset your sleep cycle. Cool thing with this one is I implement this with people 6-7 months down the road, they still have 90% plus sleep scores. So really impressive what it can do. CJC 1295 plus the ipamorelin falls into this category as well. Why, guys? Because this increases growth hormone levels. And what did I tell you with growth hormone? The more growth hormone in the body, better recovery, better sleep. Okay? We take this one before bed. It's going to help improve sleep, improve recovery, tissue repair, all that good stuff. And then most of your GHRP peptides, so any of those growth hormone peptides, they're all going to basically have a big play on sleep and recovery. So whether it's the CJC 1295 plus the ipamorelin, even tesamorelin, these peptides are going to improve sleep and recovery because they're increasing growth hormone levels, okay? Injury repair and joint recovery, we got BPC 157, probably one of the most popular one that everyone knows about. This is going to accelerate healing of tendons, ligaments, gut tissue, and inflammation reduction. So this is going to basically help the body reduce inflammation systemically and be kind of like an overall repair system. TB500 is going to promote cell migration, tissue repair, flexibility to actual like muscle tissue. Cool thing with TB500, that cell migration piece is this. When you take TB500, it sends your body's own internal stem cells to injury sites and has them go do their work. So it's very beneficial for post-injury, post-surgery, anything like that. TB500 is a big play because it's going to send those stem cells where they need to go to let them repair. Last one's going to be GHKCU. You're often going to see GHKCU as GLOW, which is essentially a blend of these three peptides. It's BPC, TB500, GHKCU in one peptide. It's a blend. But GHKCU is going to be a copper peptide. Here's what's cool about this one. It's going to increase collagen production, but more importantly, it's going to tell the body where to produce more collagen. Everyone thinks that if you take a collagen supplement, that your body will then produce more collagen. That's not how it works. It's an incomplete protein. Your body does not produce more collagen unless you fix the signal to tell the body to produce more collagen. So again, GHKCU is a big game changer for that. That's why a lot of people use it in the cosmetic space because you're going to have a big improvement in your skin health, skin elasticity, things like that. Last piece with GHKCU is it's also going to increase the synovial fluid inside of your joints. We don't ever produce more of this, right? And that's why people deal with arthritis, things like that, is because that synovial fluid gets depleted. By the time you're, say, 50, you don't have much synovial fluid in there anymore, so we're bone on bone, no cushion in there. So again, deal with arthritis, joint issues, things like that. GHKCU, along with the collagen, is also going to increase that synovial fluid, so get more of that synovial fluid inside of the joint, so better joint health overall. Big game changer. Again, you'll often see that in that combination blend of glow. Immune and hormonal support. We got thymosin alpha-1. This is going to boost immune modulation and reduce chronic inflammation. This, along with KPV, are like the best things you can do to reduce overall systemic inflammation. KPV, on the other hand, is a potent anti-inflammatory. It's going to be for your gut and overall systemic repair. So again, when it comes down to reducing chronic inflammation, getting the body, getting rid of all that inflammation, KPV is going to be a big game changer. And again, I like to stack that with the thymosin alpha-1. Kisspeptin, this one's a game changer. This is going to act as that master switch for the reproductive hormone axis. So this is going to tell the pituitary gland to produce more LH and FSH. That's luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone. These two hormones are what produce our sex hormones. So if we can tell the pituitary gland produce more of these, downstream, we produce more of our sex hormones. So again, if we're talking about a hormone downregulation, whether it's testosterone for females, estrogen, progesterone, any of those, Kisspeptin will kind of be that main approach you can take to improve that without having to go on HRT. And glutathione. Glutathione is the number one peptide every single human on this planet should be taking. If you had one thing to take away from this video, it'd be sleep and glutathione. Glutathione is produced in every cell of our body, and it's a master antioxidant. It's the most powerful antioxidant in our body. And its primary role is to protect the cells from oxidative stress and toxins. So it helps the body get rid of free radicals, detoxify the body. Glutathione is a game changer. We will deplete these levels through lack of sleep, stress, getting sick, all these different things. Glutathione is going to replenish that and make sure, again, the body can detoxify itself as efficiently as possible. All right? Glutathione is a big game changer, guys. Again, I highly recommend every single human is on glutathione. You will probably never get sick. Energy levels will improve. And again, the body will be in a much healthier state when you do that. Okay? So if we break this into a quick glance, fat loss peptides kind of falls into the aesthetic metabolic category. Got AOD, TESA, CJC plus ipamorelin. Muscle growth, call that under the performance category. CJC plus IPA, most of your growth hormone related peptides, and then your IGF-1. Cognitive, calls in like the neuropeptide category. Cmax, C-link, dihexa. Sleep, it's going to be restorative. DSIP, CJC plus IPA. Again, any of your growth hormone peptides will fall into that category as well. Injury repair, we got BPC, TB500, GHKCU. Remember, you can also get this in that blend called Glow. And then immune support plus hormonal support is going to be thymosin alpha-1, your KPV, your Kisspeptin, your glutathione. Remember, for the hormonal support, it's going to be the Kisspeptin. The other three are going to be more towards immune support, anti-inflammatory. Okay? All right, let's go into how to build your actual protocol. You guys need to follow this formula. This is how you do not waste your money and make sure what you're spending your money on, you're getting the most out of it. And again, just not taking a bunch of peptides under the sun and just blowing your money. Okay, be strategic. Stuff's not cheap. Okay, if you're getting good peptides, you're going to spend a couple $100s on them. And you want to make sure to make the most of your money. Best bang for your buck. So first thing you need to do is you need to define your goal. Got to figure out what the goal is. Now, how do we define the goal? The first place you start is going to be assessing your blood work and your wearable data. What needs to be improved? We get blood work done. Do we have a down regulation on the hormone side of things? Let's address that. Does the lipid profile need some support? Let's address that. Are we dealing with some kind of metabolic insufficiency? We need to address that. We have to start with the internal health piece first, and this is why, again, you need blood work. See what's going on under the hood and address that first. Do not try to move to a body composition goal if you have not addressed your internal health, because you completely bypass the foundation and you won't yield the changes you want to yield. So again, we assess blood work, we assess the wearable data, what actually needs to improve. This determines where you start. Okay, if anything needs to be improved, we must address that first. Okay, big emphasis on that. Stop jumping to the GLPs because you want to lose weight if we haven't improved any of our internal health markers first. Now, then we go into the biofeedback, right? How do I feel? How's my sleep? How's my energy? How's my recovery? Think, analyze yourself. Where do I need support? Based off that, that determines the next piece you address. So maybe it is a sleep component. So you run a 20-day cycle of the DSIP to improve that sleep. Maybe it's energy. So you add in some NAD. Maybe it's cognitive. You need better focus. You have a ton of mental clarity. So maybe we add in the Cmax and the C-link as well. Again, we assess the biofeedback. How am I feeling? How am I operating day to day? What is actually going on? Then we address that component. Now that internal health and your biofeedback are both addressed, you can then define your next goal. If you do not do those other two pieces first, you have no reason to jump into, again, fat loss, muscle growth, any of those other pieces. So we start with blood work, we make sure that's improved. We go to biofeedback, make sure that's improved. Now we go into that last goal, which typically for people is like aesthetic or performance focused. So again, do we want to focus on fat loss? Is it muscle growth? Is it performance? Is it more of a cognitive piece? Like we just want to be more focused at work. Figure out what it is and address that. That's when you can start implementing peptides for that. Last piece, this process, guys, is going to keep you from taking unnecessary peptides and have a strategic outline on what to focus on first, and then you move down the list. So again, assess blood work, what needs to be improved, okay? Maybe it's massive stress response and inflammation response, things like that. So maybe we do like a KPV, or we do like a glow, or you could even add that into a CLO, which includes the KPV, right? We add something in for that, maybe even like an NAD. Help improve that overall cellular function, okay? This is where like your MOTS-C, which is like a mitochondrial peptide, will come into play. Once we determine that, we get that implemented, we make sure those blood work markers are improved. Then we go into the biofeedback. How am I feeling? Again, maybe it's a sleep component. So we need to do around a D-SIP to improve the sleep. We also want to get the energy levels up. So this is maybe where we keep the NAD plus in, and then we can add in like a C-max or something as well, right? But we'll keep it simple. Start with the D-SIP and the NAD. Now that both of that is addressed, sleep has improved. We saw our sleep metrics improve because we have a wearable device that we're monitoring all of this with. Boom, that's dialed in. We can now move to this piece. Maybe we're like, all right, cool. Goal here is I want better muscle composition and I want to lose body fat. So maybe we go for a retatrutide and a tesamorelin. Boom. So now you can see I essentially just built my stack. I looked at my blood work, I figured out what needed to be improved, I implemented my peptides for that, and then I monitor, make sure those are improving. Then I went to my biofeedback. My sleep was dog shit, my energy levels are dog shit. So I added in my D-SIP, I added in my NAD. Watch the wearable data. Did my sleep scores improve? Am I waking up more rested? Is my energy lasting further throughout the day? Do I feel more mental clarity? Do I just feel more overall energy? Boom, that's dialed in, that's addressed. Now that that's covered, now we move into the fun part, okay? Hey, I want to get shredded. I want to pack on more muscle tissue. I want to look good. Awesome. This is where I'm adding in my Reta. I'm adding in my Tessa to focus on that piece as well. So again, you can see here how we kept this down to what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 peptides over, maybe a 12 to 16 week phase. So again, this is how you make sure you don't just blow your money and take a bunch of fucking random peptides without being strategic on what you're actually implementing, okay? Again, screenshot this piece. You guys need to follow this formula. If you follow this formula, you will always see a benefit from your peptides and you will always make the most of your money, okay? I want to go through some of my client transformations, all right? You guys have seen my page. If you haven't seen my page, you guys can follow me on Instagram at the Carter Montgomery. My guys make incredible progress. We got men, we got women who yield insane changes. And again, we're talking people who are 40, 50, 60 plus. And again, blood work has improved drastically, the internal health is dialed in, and they're yielding incredible body composition changes. And this is because they followed that exact formula that I just laid out for you. We put them through the system, everything is tracked, everything is monitored, everything is strategically placed, and because of that, dudes are operating, looking, and feeling better than they did when they were in their 30s. Big game changer, guys, here. So everything I taught you guys today, you can apply right now and see progress. If you follow this formula from A to Z and you work through that system that I just walked you through, you will make progress. But if you want precision, custom labs, peptide protocol, your nutrition design, direct coaching, you want everything done for you without even having to think about it and take all the guesswork out of it, it's exactly what I do with my private clients. What I'm going to do is in the description below, I'm going to drop a link for my coaching. You can go there. It's going to be optimizetheoperator.com. Quick little application. Go ahead and fill that out so I can see what's going on with you and what we actually need to improve. I will reach out to you personally. We'll schedule time to talk and map out your history, your goals, what your current state is, and then create that realistic strategy to bring the vision to life. All right? Now, remember, guys, whether you apply this or not, use what you learned today. You have to. If you're using any of these things, follow the system. Like, your body is the foundation of everything. We want to be on this planet as long as possible with the highest quality of life, and we want to look and feel our best as well, which means if you follow the system, you take control of your health, you have that in your hands, you will make that happen. All right? Hope you guys got some good value out of this. I'll talk to you soon.